What's up, Jabroni? Steven here, and welcome to my Raw recap review reaction. And today we will be talking about Monday Night Raw, Finn Balor giving up his title because of an injury, Brock Lesnar and his holy shitness that happened at SummerSlam. What is the aftermath of SummerSlam? What does it mean? What are the storylines going forward? Is anything going to be answered? Are they going to get rid of that shitty ass Jolly Rancher belt? I mean, I know that they're sponsored by Jolly Rancher for SummerSlam, but did the belt have to be a part of it? I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through some of the things that happened on the show. We're going to go through everything that happened on the show. Sorry about that. And we're going to figure out what it means. Like, what's going to happen going forward. Throughout the show, you guys can comment below or leave me in the chat anything, and we will discuss it as we go. So as I mentioned before, Finn Balor, turns out he messed up his shoulder yesterday with the match with Seth Rollins, and what ended up happening is that because he injured his shoulder, he is going to be out officially for 6 months. Yes, Finn Balor, the man that we've been waiting for so long to come up to the main roster, he finally gets here. He's over as hell, injures his shoulder in his first fucking match. I know, like, you can't write shit like this, guys. Like, it's fucking insane that that's what happened. So people are wondering what's gonna happen. Does that mean Seth Rollins automatically gets a shot? How are they gonna answer this? So they come out. Finn comes up. Well, Stephanie and Mick Foley come out. They do their whole thing. Tell Finn to come out. When Finn comes out, he does this whole thing with just kind of squatting and doing it, but the heart was there. What ends up happening next, he gets in the ring, they give him the mic, he talks, he tells about how he's been waiting to be here for so long, he finally made it, he worked his ass off, all this stuff that we know we all know that Finn Balor's had to go through, and he's finally made it here, and that he says that he's going to be on the show for 6 months, but yes, he is going to be back. He will be back, and that the title will be the first thing he goes after. What my worry is that, as we all know, in WWE, they're very fickle. You could be hot right now, and then after a while, Vince or nobody wants to push you, creative doesn't want to push you. So that could be what happens here, and I hope it's not. But it's a scary situation because it could be what happens here when Finn comes back. Maybe they don't have room for him. Maybe Roman's back to being the fucking guy. I don't know. But yeah, that's what happens. He gives the belt. As he's leaving, out comes Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins says he deserves to get the belt. Then out comes Sami Zayn. The crowd goes insane. I was fucking losing my mind. I was hyped. I was excited. I was like, there's no way. There's just no fucking way, right? Like, we're going to get Sami Zayn getting a shot for the title. Like, are you kidding me? I was hyped. Maybe they don't have room for no, it turns out that it was a bunch of guys coming out. So who comes out? Let's see what we got here. Sami Zayn, Enzo and Cass, Kevin Owens, Jericho, Roman, and I believe that's everybody that came out to the ring in this segment. A bunch of discussions and fighting, and then whatever happens here, and it turns out that we're going to have another one of those weird little tournaments that Stephanie McMahon loves so much. And I don't know if it's a tournament, but it's more like, it's a tournament. We're going to have some singles matches. We're going to have four one-on-one matches. The winners of those matches go into a fatal four-way next week. Whoever wins that gets the title. All right, so who are the matches? We'll figure out the matches throughout the night, but the first match that happened was Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Right off the bat, I was like, oh shit, Sami Zayn isn't getting past this round. What the fuck? So Sami Zayn puts up one hell of a match. This was a fucking phenomenal match. Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn put on a fucking show. Like, I was watching it and I was like, there's no way. This match is so good. And of course, Seth Rollins wins. It appears that Sami injured his ankle, but it could be all part of a work. Makes sense. He was selling it. That's how he lost. So that way, Sami looks a little bit stronger, because although he did lose, it was because his leg gave out or something. I was cool with that. Next, we had before I move on to the next match, there's been some rumors going around that Sami Zayn and Neville, since the tag team divisions are so weak, they're gonna make them a tag team. And they're gonna have them be like a legitimate tag team on a Raw because of the fact that their rosters are just so shitty right now. If that is the case, it sucks because Neville and Sami are so great and they can do stuff without anybody by themselves. But after watching the SummerSlam pre-show match between them and the Dudleys, Sami and Neville are really fucking good. Like, they're really, really good together. Like, as I was watching it, I was like, holy shit, these two fucking guys put on one hell of a match. I forgot that I could scroll here. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is when they give it up, and where are we right now? We are right about here. Yeah, so they put on one hell of a match. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was super into it, and I don't know. I'm just not sure about Sami and Neville being like a tag team. I'm cool with it, but I love Sami, and Neville is really good, so it kind of sucks that they have to be put into this situation. But maybe they'll get over like this. Maybe they'll be able to get up and be more in stuff. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Some things happen with the titles or the tag team titles later on, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But it was just confusing, some of the situations that they're putting themselves in. Next, we had Kevin Owens versus Neville. So this is another one of those where you kind of know what's going to happen. So it's more about the spectacle of the fight. And this fight was really good. Kevin Owens, Neville put on a great fight. Jericho was at ringside, and it was a great fight. We all knew that Kevin Owens was going to win because he's the favorite here, of course. But Neville puts up one hell of a fight. Kevin Owens beats Neville with not the Papa Powerbomb, but some neck breaker thing. And I think this is the second time that he's done that, where he wins it with not a finisher that you'd expect him to win it with. So I don't know what the deal is up, like what's up with that, but that's how he's been finishing the matches. So I don't know, it's weird, but of course Kevin Owens wins. Jericho and him go into the back. They're having their little talk, and they're just so in love with one another. They're pepping each other up. They're talking about like, you're the man, I'm the man. Like it's a really cool dynamic. I'm loving it so much. Then we had let me see what we got here. What I have in my notes here. The New Day with their 365th day as champions, a full year. They announced that there was going to be a match between Karl Anderson versus Big E. And the first thing that I thought while watching this match and everything before it was, man, this WWE wasting the club. Like, they are wasting the club like so bad. As I'm watching it, I'm just like, I don't get what's happening here. Like, I don't understand why the club is being wasted so bad. But they are being wasted. They're not doing anything with them. It's a shame because the club is amazing. It could be so good, and they're not doing anything with it. Nonetheless, this turns into a match between Anderson and Big E. And then this match, it was a fine match. It wasn't like a spectacular match. It wasn't crazy. But the match, my problem with the match was it's making the club look so weak. Like, why does the club have to look weak? Why? Like, I don't get it. Like, why? I was one of the guys that thought that it was time for the New Day to lose their belts and to give it to the club. I thought it was time. According to WWE, it is not time. They don't think it's time yet. They feel that they're not ready or something. I don't know, but like, the club looks so weak. They come out. What's happening to the club feels like what happened to the Wyatts, where they keep coming out. They don't come off as a threat anymore. They do great work, but then they come out and then they lose. So therefore, they feel like they're being wasted. That's my problem right now with WWE and the club. It's like they're not doing anything with it. Now we have it so Finn Balor can't too sweet nobody. Like, what the fuck? Like, what a waste of the club, of potential stuff. It's just, as you watch it, you're just like, how is this happening? How can you guys waste the talent you have, like, so much? Like, it's upsetting. What else we got here? Let's see. Okay, then we had Titus O'Neil, and he gave such a shitty promo. He was messing up. He was mixing his words. It was awful. Then you got Bob Backlund come out, crazy old man Backlund, put the chicken wing choke thing on Titus. Then Titus takes him off, beats him up. Out comes Darren Young. Then Darren Young gets beat up by Titus, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this rivalry, guys? Like, what is this rivalry? What is the point of this? Like, I thought these guys were going to have a match at SummerSlam. Nope. I don't know what this is. Like, neither one of these guys seems to be knowing what to do, or creative doesn't know what to do with them, because nothing is coming from this. Nothing is happening. And it's starting to really bother me, because Titus and Darren are really good wrestlers, and they're doing nothing with them. And this gimmick for Darren Young Some weeks it looks really good, and then some weeks it looks really bad. This week it looked really bad. Darren Young looks really weak. He looks really weak. That Bob Backlund is the one that come out to defend Darren Young's honor. Like, that's a fucking joke, right? It's a joke. Oh my god, it was so bad. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with this. I don't even know. Like, maybe they'll figure out a way to get them out of maybe they'll squash it at Night of Champions or something, but not a great ending for not like that feud is just not good. Next we had Rusev versus Big Cass for the slot to be in the Fatal 4-Way. This match wasn't very good because Big Cass is a big guy, and then Rusev's whole thing was that he was hurt by Roman. So Big Cass they went back and forth for a while, and then what ended up happening is that Rusev was in so much pain, he decided to just get counted out. So Rusev gets counted out, Big Cass wins, Big Cass gets into the Fatal 4-Way. I don't know what's happening with Rusev. You're making Rusev look extremely weak, which is crazy because he's one of your best villains, and you're making him look like a bitch, and that's upsetting. Rusev is looking like a punk. He's looking extremely weak, and I mean, we'll talk about what happened with Roman later, but what's happening here, guys? Night of Champions is, I think, about 1 month away, and we don't even know what we want to do with it. Honestly, like, what's happening? What is happening? All right, what we got next? What do I have in my notes? My notes have some things. We're at the... all right, so some other things that happened before... right after Big Cass won, or before Big Cass and the... Rusev had their fight. Stephanie McMahon was with Todd Phillips in the back talking about the Brock Lesnar repercussions and what it's going to mean for them going forward. And Stephanie said that there will be repercussions. They'll figure something out, that he went too far. We also had Tom Phillips talking with Jericho, and it was a great thing, calling him different names. The same thing we've seen with them, but they're talking about, well, what happens if you have to fight each other, and a great back and forth between Kevin Owens and Jericho, as we have become used to. Next, we got a cool segment that I was really excited about, but Charlotte comes out with Dana Brooks. She keeps belittling, I don't know, whatever. She's making Dana Brooks seem like her bitch. Like, that's what it feels like whenever I see these two interact. What's happening here is that she's talking about that she deserves to get a break because she's been doing all this amazing stuff, and she's got the belt again, 2-time champion in such a short time. She deserves to have a break. Out comes Mick Foley talking about that he signed the hottest free agent, and that the hottest free agent is, and of course everybody's in the crowd yelling out, Bayley, we want Bayley, and all that stuff. And then out comes Bayley. I believe I said that this is what was going to happen on my SummerSlam review. I talked about that. That it seemed like that like Bayley, Sasha lost to Charlotte because they were going to have Bayley come in and go against Charlotte. I had no idea that Sasha was hurt yesterday, and that's what they're saying. Sasha's nagging back injuries or whatever, so she's going on a bit of a break. It could be her honeymoon, I don't know. But Bayley going against Charlotte makes sense. Bayley's a face, Charlotte's a heel. They fight. Bayley might end up winning, beating Charlotte. Then Sasha Banks comes back, and Sasha Banks automatically gets a rematch. So then you set up Bayley versus Sasha Banks, which everybody knows is going to be amazing. So that's what happened. Bayley ended up going against Dana Brooks in just for the fans kind of match. She ends up going over, of course, looking like Bayley does. And it was a fine match. Dana Brooks is just kind of there to get beat up every week, so nothing's really happening with her. Next, we had Braun Strowman versus Johnny Knockout. Essentially, the Braun Strowman squash match. This time he beats up the guy, and then he pins him like 3 or 4 times just to show off his power. After that, we had the Dudley Boyz say their goodbye. Everybody on the internet was really confused about this, as was I, because they had just signed their extension. That was rumors going around, or maybe it wasn't a rumor, maybe it was actually true. But that was what people were saying. So it was confusing when the Dudley Boyz came out and they were saying that they were going to retire. Just because everybody was already like, oh, well, they're not going to retire because they just signed an extension. But nope, they were retiring. And what people are thinking is that they are retiring the tag team part of it, and then they're gonna have maybe, because they they had a 1-year contract, and I'm assuming they might sign. They probably signed another one, and maybe they're gonna separate them and make them go separate ways for another year, and then that'll be it. Out come the Shining Stars to confront the Dudleys during this whole thing. The Shining Stars gimmick is still garbage, just horrible gimmick. They need Carlito bad. But the Shining Stars come out. They end up getting beat up by the Dudley Boyz, get a couple 3Ds, a couple what's ups. Then they did the whole table thing. And when they're going to put the Shining Stars through the table, as you see in the picture here, the club comes out. The club comes out. I don't get it. I don't understand. The club has just been coming out. Like, the club is in a feud with the New Day, but yet they're fighting here against the Dudley Boyz and just beating them up for no reason. Maybe it's because it's going to make it seem like they're going to put the Dudley Boyz on the shelf for like a month or two, and they just needed a way to get them off TV for something. I'm guessing. I don't get it. I don't know. But the club beats them up, puts them through tables, all this other stuff, and that's how that ends. I don't know. I don't get what was happening here. I think this is just meant like this is the last time these guys were going to be in a tag team for a while, and that's what's happening. That's the only thing I can get from it. So if that's not what it is, I don't know. Then we got to the main event of the evening. The main event of the evening was Roman Reigns versus Jericho. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, shit. They're pushing Reigns again. And the fans going to love it because they're pushing Reigns again. So Roman has been looking dominant for like the last couple of weeks against Rusev. And he beats up Chris Jericho. I don't even know what to say here. I'm actually kind of upset because Roman needed some time. He was being punished. Now he's not being punished anymore. He's clearly going to be in the Fatal 4-Way now. Like, who I want to win the Fatal 4-Way, who I want to fully win the Fatal 4-Way is Kevin Owens. That's who deserves it. That is the man. Probably what's going to happen is either Roman or Seth is going to win, but I'm going for Kevin Owens. I just think it would be an awesome feud for Kevin Owens, and it would spark some things. Maybe Roman costs Seth. I don't know. I want Kevin Owens to win it, so that's who I'm rooting for. But yeah, that was the end of Raw. Honestly, Raw last night was okay. It wasn't bad. I don't think it was a bad show. I think it was a fine show. It was decent. Some decent things happened. We got some interactions with that, their answers for Finn being hurt made sense. Finn's hurt. We're going to hold another tournament type of thing. See who deserves to have the title shot. It made sense because Finn being hurt last night made them have to change the story. Like, I'm curious as to what the story was originally, but Finn being hurt made them have to change the story. So since the story had to be changed, I guess this is the best scenario. I mean, I personally would have done, this is how I would have done it. I would have done Jericho versus Sami, Seth versus Big Cass, I would make it so that the Fatal 4-Way next week is Jericho, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. That's how I would have ended it, honestly, because putting Roman in there and putting Big Cass in there, I don't know. I just wouldn't want them in there. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's how I would have done it. But it doesn't look like anybody really joined us today in the chat room. So since nobody's here, communicating in the chat, I might just kind of call it a show that's going to be pretty early. Let me just make sure. I'm not sure. It was acting really weird, so I don't know what's happening. Ended it. So if it's still acting weird, putting Roman in there and putting Big Cass in there. Yeah, it's still acting weird, so it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, nobody's really in the chat right now. I was hoping that people would be in the chat so I could test out this in the chat room. The new my whole thing on the chat with the on the side, but it's okay. But pretty much, I thought Raw was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was. Hey, we got somebody talking. Let's see what we got here. Somebody's here. Did they do anything with Orton and Brock? Nope. They did nothing with Orton and Brock. All they had was Stephanie say that there's going to be repercussions over what he did, and that's it, pretty much. What he did to Shane was like uncalled for. That's essentially what happened. Nothing really happened. I went through the entire show. To me, Raw was okay. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't bad. There was some decent, good wrestling stuff, but nothing really spectacular happened. That was my main problem with the show, is that there was some good matches, but we didn't get as many answers as I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, I get that Finn was hurt, right? I get it. I get Finn was hurt and that they needed to readjust things, and this is what they came up with. We'll do a tournament. We'll hold 4 matches, fatal 4-way next week. We'll bring up Bayley. We'll retire the Dudleys. We'll do whatever the fuck is happening with the New Day and the club, and now the Dudleys being retired or getting beat up by the club, whatever that is. It was okay to. It was a. I'm gonna say it was a good show. It was a good show. I think it was a good show. It wasn't great. I'm gonna say it was good. It was good to okay. So we can't expect much else after that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If nobody in the chat room has any questions, I'm gonna get out of here. Let's see. I'll go through here one more time just in case. But I think we are good to go. All right, guys. So it was a pleasure, as always, to talk wrestling. And I'll be back tomorrow to talk about SmackDown. And hopefully, if you guys are on, you guys can cop in, have a conversation with me. And I'm going to try to keep these live shows where I talk right after the shows to about half an hour, between 20 and a half an hour. And that's except for pay-per-views, which are bigger, we'll keep those. We'll make those about an hour almost. But this is something I'm liking. I'm liking this new way of showing pictures while talking, while also having the chat open. Interactive stuff. It's fun. I'm cool with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys let me know what you guys want to see on this channel. I do top 10s when I can. If you guys have any specific top 10s for wrestling you want to know, let me know, and I'll look into them and see if I have enough knowledge to do those top 10s. But as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.